Funny.
Is it recording?
Yeah, it is recording.
How did you do that?
You guys were supposed to be watching the SpongeBob. How are you gonna dance when Scowl comes on? How are you gonna dance when Scowl comes on?
I'm gonna jump up and down.
How are you gonna dance when Scowl comes on? Who did you guys come here to see? Scowl!
Scowl!
How do you guys feel about Scowl coming to Slow? Like excited or like?
Fucking stoked.
Oh my god, that's literally the best thing that's ever happened. Usually there's not bands that I listen to that come too slow, so them coming too slow is pretty like sick as shit.
Yeah, I feel like there's not a ton of like hardcore here. How do you guys feel about like the slow scene in general with that?
All of us are like in hardcore bands here.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like, it's limited. There's the letdowns who we fucking love.
Yeah.
And there's only like a handful of hardcore bands, and we're trying to kind of like bring it back or make it more prominent in the slow scene because it needs more fucking hardcore stuff.
About performing live?
It's so much fun. It's fun with this guy. I've been performing live for a long time. There's like a improvness about it, you know, but like it's not even improvised, but it kind of feels like it sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Hey, how are you gonna dance when Scowl comes on?
Probably like.
Yeah. How do you feel about performing live music?
It's awesome. My life would be horrible, and I would have nothing to do if I didn't have live music in my life. Start a band, please.
What do you like most about playing live music?
The community, the friends. I mean, meeting new people, meeting people who like feel the same way I do about shit feels really good.
Did you have like a hard time finding a more like hardcore scene up there since you're from like a smaller town and also like just a college town in general?
Yeah, well, we kind of made it. I've been doing, so I'm 30 now, and I've been involved up there doing like punk, hardcore DIY stuff since I was like 14 or 15. So it's really just kind of like, you know, we're an area, a lot of people pass over, you know, going on their way to like bigger cities. And so we just always had a really strong ethic and a really strong, like, again, like sense of community and making it. It's like we try and promote as much as we can and make it easy, but it's still kind of hard. You know, it's not a major hub, so it's tough, but it's been on the upswing, so that's really cool.
We have kind of the same issue here, just being a small college town. So it's really great to see like bands like yours like coming through and like introducing that. How are you gonna dance when Scowl comes on?
Oh, dude, I'm gonna shake my shit. Yeah. Shouts out to Fresno. That's where I got that one.
Dylan, how are you gonna dance when Scowl comes on?
Dillan, Obsidian Princess, and this is
Scowl.
Woo! thank you so much for being here with me today. We are KCPR, Cal Poly's radio station, and we're so honored to have you guys here. So my first question is, I've seen Scowl play a couple times. My most favorite was definitely at Sound and Fury. You guys were awesome, just the energy and everything. How has that energy from your guys' music and the audience like inspired your music?
Well, we like when people are dancing and having fun, so I think we just keep trying to make them do that.
Yeah.
I feel like something that's really integral about hardcore music is the fact that there's a lot of crowd participation, and I think that that's something we've tried to like encourage with our shows as our sounds change and it's not quite as, you know, maybe hardcore punky sounding. It's still just like about the participation and the inclusion of everybody in the room.
So I know that you guys are really involved with the Santa Cruz hardcore and DIY scene. How has that DIY scene and subculture and influenced you guys' band, and what does that mean to you guys?
Well, I booked shows in Santa Cruz for close to 10 years, I think. Every band from Santa Cruz or like members of it, they've all like toured together, and it's become like a very big family. Santa Cruz is very involved, like it's attached to a lot of the scenes surrounding, and so when you look at like the Bay Area scene, it includes not geographically Santa Cruz, but as a scene it includes it because so many of the Santa Cruz people play in bands from San Jose or Oakland or across the board. So many of the bands are very different sounding, but everyone just rides for each other, and they've all come up together. And you know, there's a lot of young bands too that we've known them since. You know, I've known some of the dudes like Marco, who usually plays drums in Slugger, who's on tour with us. We've known that kid since he was like 10 years old skating at the skate park. You know, there's Tsunami, there's Hands of God, there is Drain. There's so many bands that are still touring a lot and coming from that scene. There's a lot of younger bands like Out of Pocket. You look at bands like Condition One or Rule of Thumb, or bands that have members that have been around forever. So it's a big family, and I think it's more the community that makes the scene than like a specific sound that comes from those areas.
So listening to Scowl now versus when I first heard How Flowers Grow back in 2021, like that was my anthem definitely back in the day. You guys' band style and musical evolution has definitely evolved and transcended beyond that classic hardcore punk. Is there an aim to continue exploring those different genres within your guys' next projects?
Scowl has always just made the music that we want to make, you know, like everyone. I think that's one thing that makes Scowl so special, is that everyone in this band is so very eclectic with our music taste, with our style. Literally, we are 5 very different people, and it's like very odd that it comes together so well, but it does. Like something about the 5 of us just clicks and it works, and we're just gonna keep making music that we want to hear, you know, whether that be a 30-second song with a D beat or a 3-minute long song with a chorus.
I recently saw you guys have reached your 400 show mark, which is so exciting. And you guys have been touring for like 2+ years, which I just think is absolutely insane. How's that for your mental health?
Well, to give you an idea, we haven't been touring for the last 3 months.
Okay, good.
That's what that tells you how it is on our mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, we love touring. I love touring. I would rather be on the road than at home. But touring for, 3.5 years straight, it really takes a toll because you start to lose sense of what is normal. And And I think this break that we've had the last couple months has been really good for all of us mentally, just to kind of recalibrate and come back to ourselves and relearn how to like cook ourselves dinner and breakfast and have a sleep schedule. So I guess in a roundabout way, that's like the best answer is it's not always easy. It's actually very, very hard on all of us individually, and we're just doing what we can to like stick close and stick tight.
So if anyone knows Kat Moss, they know your iconic green hair. How has that hair evolution been for you, and has that influenced the music at all?
I really appreciate this question because I spend a lot of time, thinking about the hair, but also doing the hair, and it's a lot of investing time, and it's expensive. I work really closely with my hairstylist. Her name's Kayla, and she's under the Instagram at Kayla Hardcore Hair. She's incredible. It was something I knew I'd wanted to do for a long time, and I had green hair at different points in my life prior to even being in a band, and it was something that I felt really confident in, and I wanted to go on stage feeling like I get to share a part of my very true self without having to really like say much. So the hair gets to communicate that. I can think of a lot of my favorite artists and like favorite bands, and I think about like the look and like the aesthetics of the band, and the hair has a really large part of that. So that's something that I take into consideration. Something I didn't expect when it comes to like the music and the lyrics and things like that is that the hair would sometimes feel a little bit caging, like a little cagey, and I've had to find ways to like play with it and change it up and feel like I'm in control while also still like holding on to this like iconic thing. There's a lyric in Retail Hell where it's like, what's my point of existence? Something if it's only measured in green. And I was talking about money when I wrote that lyric, and I had brown hair, but now with the green hair and like having that for a long time, sometimes it feels like I'm kind of speaking to myself, like, who really are you? But yeah, it's what's floating around up here for sure.
I definitely feel like I've seen those motifs of like, who am I really? Why am I here? Kind of in Retail Hell, starting with the that green reference into Special with those like the lyrics and the meanings that I've seen from your newer work. As a woman, I definitely know kind of like how important it is to see women and marginalized people in these spaces of hardcore and punk and alternative scene. Do you enjoy being a role model for people to look up to and as being like a female and kind of a male-centered place? Or do you kind of also feel like it gets tiring sometimes only feeling like you are like a female-fronted band or just a girl in a band?
Two things can be true. I think that it's incredible and it's an honor to like be considered a figurehead in this space as someone who's like maybe inspired and helped, break down some barriers for other people like me. And I think that that's massively important and probably like something that I also battle with a lot personally because it's a lot of pressure. Of course, I don't want to feel too sorry for myself because like I wanted to do this because I wanted to have fun and I wanted to be creative and I want to be an artist at the end of the day. All the other stuff is extra, but this particular extra thing is really, really, really important to me now, especially. And when I first started coming to hardcore shows and being involved in like DIY culture, I recognized that there was a bit of a, inequality in that way. And I saw a lot of bands with like femme people in them and marginalized people in them, but I noticed the way people talked about those bands and the way those bands were billed. And when Scowl started, I kind of had this pipe dream of like, I want to break that down. I don't want people to think of it different. I don't want people to separate it. I think that it's important that there's some sort of iconography for people who don't feel represented. And again, it is an honor to fill those shoes, at least in a little, like some ways, you know? I'm not the only one, but it's also, it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure sometimes. And I'm still little old me, so sometimes I have to like take the hat off and check out a little.
So Scowl has done some incredibly cool things, like you guys have been on the cover of Alternative Press, you've played at Coachella, Sound and Fury, been touring constantly. Do you have any big goals that you haven't achieved yet?
I know what you were talking about the other day that we really want to do.
Oh, I really want to go to Japan.
Asia.
I know everybody else really wants to go, but I really want to go to Japan.
Yeah.
I don't know how we haven't been to Japan
It's
yet.
kind of surprising we
How
haven't
have we
been
not
there.
been to Japan?
I don't know.
This sounds corny, but in a lot of ways, I feel like I've achieved many goals. I guess the goal for me is to just keep doing this. Just playing in cool places like Slow or wherever, Japan. You know, it doesn't matter to me so much where it is or what the show is, as long as there's cool people there that are on the same page or on the same team. You know, getting to connect with people through music, being on this side of it is already the biggest goal I feel like I've accomplished.
Thank you so much again, once again. My name's Dylan, and thanks so much for interviewing with KCPR. It was awesome. Yay!
How was your Scowl experience?
It fucking rocked.
Tell me more about it. How did you feel about the crowd and being right up front? And I saw you get smacked a couple times because I was also getting smacked a couple of times.
Some dude stage diving right onto my head and like knocking my camera out of my hand. Wasn't the vibe, but it was fucking chaotic. And I got in the mic. I forget during what song, but I got in the mic with Kat, and that was my highlight for sure.
How was your Scowl experience?
It was so fun. It was my first time seeing them, and it was awesome.
Tell me more about it. How did you like the openers? And like,
the openers were sick. Excuse me, sir. I think their name was awesome. Very like title fight vibes. Letdowns, they were so sick. I'm not usually a fan of like two pieces. So I feel like it feels empty, but their set was awesome. And Slugger was also super cool. The energy was great. But Scowl, like the stage presence, just incredible.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the crowd?
The crowd was fun, especially for a Monday night. But Slow always like goes out like that, so I'm not surprised.
Thank you for watching
the KCPR 91.3 FM.
Perfect.